Good afternoon and welcome. We're so glad you took the time today to join us to learn more about the AWS MicroCreds. I know we are experiencing some unprecedented events and we hope you and yours are well. This program today was developed by LSU Online and Continuing Education. At LSU, we offer over 80 online degrees, certificates, and microcred programs that stack together to help advance your career. My name is Christy Anthony, and I'm going to be one of your panelists today. I'm the Director for Professional Development at LSU Online and Continuing Education. I've been with LSU for 25 years and have experience in adult education, distance and online learning, professional development, and grant management. The other panelist joining me today is Dr. Andrew Schwartz, our AWS Certified Professor, whom you'll learn more about in a few minutes. In today's webinar, we will be discussing the AWS Cloud Practitioner and AWS Solutions Architect MicroCred, what they are and who should take them. Here's our agenda that we'll be going through. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please enter them in the Q&A so we can address them at the end of the webinar. What is a microcred? Well, microcred is an abbreviation for the word micro-credentials, which are segments of just-in-time training used for the purpose of learning a new skill set or increasing knowledge of a known skill set, which we often refer to as reskilling and upskilling. They're flexible, short segmented areas, mainly in areas for career growth, skills, and enrichment. These particular microcreds, the AWS microcreds, are intended to prepare learners for industry recognized certification through Amazon, and as well as in-demand careers in cloud computing. We have a wide variety of microcreds that we offer, mainly in two different categories, one in the college credit and the other one in professional development. You can see here the full list of our microcreds and learn more about them by visiting our websites, but they span a variety of categories covering such topics as accounting, construction management, marketing, information technology, and of course, AWS. Which brings us to microcred outcomes. Upon completion, you will receive a badge. This badge can be promoted online digitally for resume purposes. Another outcome could be that it can be evaluated for prior learning assessment, possibly decreasing the number of credits needed to obtain a college degree. For instance, these microcreds, AWS microcreds, can count towards the MBA program at LSU. So that can be really helpful in helping you attain an advanced degree. The professional development microcreds provide practical training that can really be immediately applied to the workforce. So today we're really here to talk about these two, and I'd just like to share with you a few quick facts on these. This is the first microcred, which is the AWS Cloud Practitioner. It is a 9-credit online self-paced course. It's made up of two different courses. Each course is about 20 hours in contact length. So those courses are Principles of Cloud Computing 1 and Applied Cloud Computing 1. This is the badge on this screen that I had mentioned that you would get digitally at the point of completion. And this program total cost is $15.90. The next overview is the solutions architecture. Again, same formatting, online self-paced, but this one is 3 courses, each 20-hour contact, so a total of 60-hour contact, and really kind of a continuation there, moving into Principles 2, Applied Computing 2 and 3. And the total cost of that is $23.95. And again, here would be the badge you would get on that. So now I would like to introduce Dr. Andrew Schwartz and turn it over to him. He's our AWS Certified Professor here at LSU, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about himself and about the program. Dr. Schwartz.
Great, thank you so much, Christy, and so much. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I hope wherever you are joining us from that you're safe and that you're healthy and that your family is doing well as well. So I want to begin by talking a little about myself so you kind of know about who you'll be taking the class from. So I've been at LSU since 2003, but before that I got my undergraduate degree from Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, and then I got my PhD from the University of Houston. I managed to rise through the ranks at LSU. I'm now a full professor in the E.J. Uso College of Business within the Stevenson Department of Entrepreneurship and Information Systems. Now, I was not an academic in the pure sense. I actually worked for a number of years as a consultant before I came back to get a PhD. So I've always had a bent for trying to deliver content to both our undergraduates and our adult learners that was very practically based. And so really this is an extension of a lot of my work over the years. I was actually named one of the top 40 business people in Baton Rouge under the age of 40 a number of years ago, but I've maintained my focus on industry, and I maintain a very active consulting business on the side as well. And I say that to really let you know that when we do these microcreds, the objective here is to really be practical. We're trying to give you some practical experience that will give you a job on day one. Now, I've been very blessed along the way as well. I'm actually been internationally recognized. I'm one of the top 1% of researchers around the world in terms of my own research. But in terms of AWS, I came on the journey toward AWS a number of years ago. I started talking to practitioners and business executives, and I began to ask them, what is it that we need to prepare the next generation of learners in the area of technology? Where is technology headed? And we outlined 3 different areas where we really saw a deficit of skills. And those were the cloud, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. So as I dug into the idea of the cloud, I began to look into the cloud. What is the cloud and how does cloud work? And I decided that for myself, I would become certified in AWS. So I became an AWS cloud practitioner certified individual. And then as I did that, I realized that I wanted to then teach this skill to my students. So I then brought this into the classroom, and I became the first AWS certified professor in the entire state of Louisiana. Now, what does that mean? What that means to you is that AWS has a series of different options that you have to get content. You can choose to do a course online through a non-certified instructor, and you may or may not be successful when you decide to sit for your own certification exam. Or you can choose to take a program from AWS Educate. In that case, again, you're taking a course from someone who's not certified. However, the benefit of going through this program is you're learning from an instructor who's a member of AWS Academy. It's the highest level of engagement with AWS. This means I'm teaching you content in which I'm certified myself. I'm certified as a cloud practitioner, and I'm certified as a solutions architect as well, and I'm constantly moving towards other certifications as well. So that's a little bit about me, but really when we talk about the cloud, what is cloud computing? Let's make sure we really understand what this concept is. What's interesting about cloud computing is that cloud computing is really what we're doing right now. We're using software that exists, that we're now using through the internet, and we're each individually accessing this software remotely. You use the cloud computing all the time. If you use Google Docs or Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo, all those are examples of cloud computing. So the cloud computing is simply where you access services or database or applications online, and you access these through the internet. So we know that we use them at a consumer level, and that makes sense, but what about at a corporate level? Well, companies are increasingly focusing on the cloud. As we've gone through this period of COVID and work from home, we think about the way that we used to use our IT systems. We used to have to be on premise in order to access our IT, but now we can access it from anywhere, anytime. So that's the benefit of the cloud. All right, so you know who I am, and you know what the cloud is, but who cares? Why should you spend the money to get a microcred in the area of the cloud? So let me give you some statistics. A 2020 tech survey found that the average cloud engineer starts at $128,347 per year. This is one of the highest areas of IT today. Why? Because the truth is a lot of individuals simply don't have the skill set that it takes. They have not retooled in order to get the cloud certification. All right, so maybe that's an anomaly. What else do we see? Well, we see other surveys backing this up as well. If we look back to 2019, we saw, according to LinkedIn, expertise in the cloud was the most in-demand skill for employers in 2019, and that was pre-COVID. So we know that the cloud matters, but why should you care about AWS? Sure, there's lots of vendors out there. So why AWS? Well, if we look at the overall, the way that the market segment is segmented within the cloud, we see there's a number of different vendors. So, however, surveys also tell us that the number one vendor is AWS. They're actually leading the industry in terms of market share within corporate cultures today. If it weren't for just, what are the choices besides AWS? Well, you could choose Google, you could use Microsoft, or you could choose IBM. However, the bulk of the IT spend today is in AWS. So you see that it matters for you. We're trying to deliver for you a class and a skill that will allow you to be a cloud engineer. All right, so you kind of understand the direction, but what does this have to do with on campus? You said that you teach this on campus. And we talked a little bit about PLAs and the ability to get certified. Let me share with you a little bit about what we're doing on campus as well. So what we did a number of years ago is we sat down and we came up with a strategy. We said, what is it that our students need to know on campus? And we defined a series of different skills in the area of the cloud that our students needed. Then we said, all right, well, based upon these skills that our students needed, let's develop a series of courses that match these skills. The MicroCred that you are going to be taking matches the same content that our students get on campus. So we said all students need to understand what the cloud is about, what gave rise to the cloud, some basic ideas of network. Then if you're an undergraduate, you would take a class called ISDS 4120 that I teach. In this class, you would learn the AWS certified material. Or if you're not an IT major, you would take a cloud for business. We call this ISDS 3130. Now let's say that you decide to take this MicroCred and you buy in, you love this idea of online classes. It's an area that I'm actually very passionate as well. So you decide to get the online MBA. Well, this would be the equivalent of you taking BADM 7270, which is, by the way, taught by me, Cloud Strategy. So the point is that when you give these MicroCreds, you're getting the same content that you would get on campus. All right, so that makes sense, right? But why should you spend money? Why can't you just teach yourself? If you went out and decided that you were going to decide to teach yourself this material, the average pass rate for these exams is about 20%. Well, I've been doing this for a little over a year. And in a year, I've managed to certify 71 cloud practitioners and 2 solutions architects. Now, the number 2 may seem low, but in order to become a solutions architect, you have to be a cloud practitioner. And unfortunately, a lot of our cloud practitioners graduated and got jobs. So, but overall, our pass rate, if you take the class and you take it seriously and you follow the guidelines in the MicroCred, my pass rate is around 40 to 50%. This will give you a return on investment in terms of your job. All right, so that sounds good at an abstract level. Well, let me give you some stories. So I decided to pick out a couple of my students, and I asked them, tell me what happened with your certification. So this is what one of my students said. I found my certification got me interviews with Amazon, DXC, and Blizzard Entertainment. I ended up accepting a job at DXC in Omaha, Nebraska. Prior to the certification, it felt like I wasn't getting very many callbacks, actually none. However, as soon as I updated my resume with a certification, there was a flood of callbacks. The certification put me in another tier of applicants in the IT world and allowed me to have an understanding of not just how AWS works, but a fundamental understanding of cloud services. Cloud services are used by almost every company using large amounts of data or networking services. So the certification is important if you want to get your foot in the door in an IT department with the big dogs. All right, that's one story, but is that the only story? No, let me share a few others with you as well. Justin told me I began working as an intern at a local custom software company in August of 2017. And my major was international trade and finance. After working at the company, I began to realize I wanted to work in IT. So he added an IT management minor and graduated as a business analyst. When I told my boss that I passed the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, he was impressed and said he could use my help in managing the virtual machines that we use to host our software. Taking your class benefited my job as I understood the more technical items that developers and database admins would talk to me about with our projects. A lot of the things I learned are applicable in my job and allow me to build on my knowledge and gain a competitive advantage. All right, one more story for you so you can see the impact. During my time at LSU, I majored in ISDS with a concentration in IT, and I'm very passionate about this field because it's so prevalent in today's society. However, Emily had actually decided to go to law school. One of my professors mentioned this certification, it would benefit me as a soon-to-be grad school. I decided I would just brush it off because I was going to law school and it would really not benefit me. But it really wasn't until about halfway through the semester that I realized how important this certification is. I realized the need for people to be certified in AWS in the workplace and how it not only benefits those who want to pursue careers in IT, but other fields as well. This certification can also be a reason companies will raise your salary. I looked more into the certification as time went through my last semester and decided that it would benefit me as a law student. Since I'm passionate about law and IT, Emily decided to pursue a career in cybersecurity law, and the certification opened her doors for future career options. This certification benefited by giving me a competitive advantage over my peers. I would highly recommend this certification for those who are willing to take it seriously. Now, those are 3 anecdotal students. I can also tell you a story about one of my students who's not on this slide, but a company that in Baton Rouge called Revibe. Revibe is a local company that's in the music industry. One of the students became certified as an AWS cloud practitioner, went out and built the entire infrastructure of the company around AWS. So the question is, can you get a job? The answer is yes. Does it matter if you're an IT person? The answer is no. As you enter the class, we're not going to assume that you know anything about IT. We're going to build your knowledge from the ground up. All right, so we see that this is going to help you. Now, you also see that we've mentioned a number of different certifications for AWS. What is the pathway for AWS certifications? So what you see in front of you is a series of different certifications that AWS offers. We're going to start on the bottom. This is the foundation. So the first MicroCred is focused on allowing you to become an AWS cloud practitioner. The second one is going to enable, that Christy discussed, is going to enable you to be a solutions architect. Over time, we'll be adding additional certifications as well that will allow you to become more certified in all of various areas related to AWS. This will give you a pathway to open new jobs. A cloud practitioner will usually come in and help a company to learn how to approach the cloud at a basic level. The solutions architect will allow you to come into a company and architect their entire infrastructure around the cloud. So now you see who I am, you know what cloud is, you see the benefits of it to you, and you see the pathway to certification. So let's get down to what we're actually going to do in the class. So this is a MicroCred that's comprised of 2 different classes. What we're going to do at first is you're going to take a class called Applied Cloud Computing 1. The idea behind Applied Cloud Computing 1 is that it's going to give you an overview into the cloud overall. We're going to be vendor agnostic in the first class. In other words, we're not going to focus on AWS. We want to talk about why companies are in the cloud. We want to talk about the different choices that companies have in the cloud. We're going to talk about the infrastructure that's underlying it. We're going to decide how you decide to select a vendor. Because if you decide inside of your company to choose AWS, that's great. But what if you decide to use Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud or IBM? So the principles class are going to be applicable across any type of vendor. The second class, Applied, is going to build upon the principles class. In other words, you need to have the principles to help you understand how to apply it. In the Applied class, we're going to prepare you for the certification. Now, taking the actual certification test is outside of the class. In other words, I'm going to bring you to the point where you're ready, but it's going to be up to you to study to get yourself all the way ready. Now, inside the Applied class, you're actually going to have a series of different opportunities to take practice and mock exams, and we'll even give you a code to allow you to get a discount off of the exam as well. So you can see there's great value in taking this particular certification. So now I do see 2 questions that I want to address before I turn the slides back over to Christy. The first question that we saw was, will I be able to get a great job with a class even with no experience in IT? Yes. The AWS Cloud Practitioner is applicable across any type of industry, even without a career or a background in IT. I've actually heard it, a lot of companies tell me that they wish everyone had some sort of certification in the cloud, because often what you're going to hear as I lecture and as we go through the class is that oftentimes the cloud decision isn't just a decision made by IT, it requires people from the business as well. The second question from Duke says, it sounds nice for youngish IT folks. What about those of us in our late 50s or early 60s? Absolutely. This is the wave of the future. So if you invest in yourself, this is a great opportunity to do so given what's going on in the world around us, you'll see a return on your investment. I've had the opportunity to teach in the MBA program for over a decade, and now with this certification in the MBA program, I've seen students come back to school that are adult learners, and they've been able to retool themselves and able to get themselves jobs and position themselves for the new environment. So those are the two questions. Now, as my time draws to a close here, I do want to tell you that I look forward to having you in class. Okay, I'm sorry, there's one more anonymous question is, what else can I do outside the program to help me prepare for the exam? After you finish the class, there's actually going to be a series of steps, and I will actually go through and tell you what you need to do. I'll point you to links, and I'll help you get there as well. So as my time draws to a close, what I want to do, I want to leave you with a few thoughts. The first is I look forward to having you in class. I would love to see you decide to invest in yourself during this time. The second is, as you finish this class up, as you finish this webinar up, let's say you have another question. My information is publicly available. Please reach out. Please send me an email. I'll be happy to help you and answer any questions that you might have. Let's say you decide to go through the program and you have questions along the way. While it's self-paced, that doesn't mean that you are on your own. I stand ready and prepared to help you, and I'm going to be rooting for your success. Your success is my success. So I want to see you be successful. On a personal level, I watched my mom go back to school when I was a teenager. She invested in herself. She ended up becoming a teacher at a later point in her own life and had a very successful career. So this is an area that I'm passionate about and that I believe in, and I really do hope that you decide to make the plunge and join us and become a cloud practitioner. I'm going to turn the program back over to Christy.
Thank you, Dr. Schwartz. One of the other things I wanted to go over with you today is some different payment options for these courses. We do have multiple different ways you can register and pay for these courses. First and foremost, you can register just for one course at a time. So if you just maybe want to start off taking the principles course, you could just register for those courses. The individual courses are $9.95 if you register for them individually. There is a 20% discount if you register for the whole MicroCred. And so there are some advantages and cost savings if you register for the whole MicroCred at one time. Then we're also promoting a scholarship opportunity right now for qualifying individuals. It's called the Career Change Scholarship, and it provides a 30% discount for those who are underemployed individuals impacted by COVID-19. So if you lost your job or got hours cut, you can certainly apply for that Career Change Scholarship, and we would be able to give you that discount. So that's a very good program. We've been very successful in helping a lot of people upskill or career change for that. So happy about that. I think the questions have been answered. We're gonna open it up to any more questions. Dr. Schwartz, as well as myself, are both still here available. I think he did mention the certification tests, and there is a process for that. One really big thing that we learned with Dr. Schwartz being certified through AWS Academy is that he would be able to provide you with 50% off the cost of that test with the voucher. So again, another good benefit of this course, because our hope would be that you would go on to take the certification test and pass it with flying colors. So it looks like we have a few more questions coming in. Dr. Schwartz, you want to pop back on as well?
Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay. Dr. Schwartz, the next question is, can current full-time students take this program while also earning a degree?
Absolutely. However, I would say reach out to me. There may be a choice for you to get credit to take the class. And we have a class, if you're a business student, you can take ISDS 3130 and get the same content. So reach out to me and let's see if there's a way that you can get it for credit if you're interested as well.
Okay. And then the next question, for 30% career change discount, is that available on top of the bundle? No, you're only available for one discount. So you would get 30% off the regular price of that. And then another question, how can I be successful in this course? And I'll let Dr. Schwartz take that one.
That's a great question. So the course is self-paced, but I can't make you study. So the truth is that if you are devoted and dedicated and you follow along with the material, you will be successful. So I said it's a 50% pass rate. Well, that's the reason for that is because honestly, some students aren't as motivated as others. So if there's enough material and there's guidance in there. So for example, the question earlier about what else can you do? So the lectures and the videos and there's some readings, they'll help you get to about 60 to 70% of the way. But what happens is AWS adds new services all the time. So you need to bring yourself up relevant. Once a year, they add all sorts of new services. So what I do is I add in a series of readings and a series of other videos to watch that bring you to be current. So the way that you're successful is that you focus. And and I promise you, if you're focused, I've seen it, we can help you become certified along the way. And the best thing, and I always tell all my students this, is ask questions. Please never feel like, even though it's a self-paced class and you don't feel like you ever see me, that I'm not there in the background watching your progress. I'll be watching your progress and monitoring you along the way. And I'm more than available to reach out to have conversations with you to help you out as well. So if you're engaged and you're a focused student, you will be successful.
The question is, will the courses in these programs be applicable to degree programs? And I'll take the first stab at that one, Dr. Schwartz.
Yes.
The Cloud MicroCred, I believe, translates 6 hours of credit into the MBA program, as well as there's the 3-hour credit program towards a BS in HRD or LXDI. And then in relation to that, the solution architecture, I believe, is 6 credits towards MBA or 6 credits towards that BS in HRD or LXDI.
Yeah, you got it.
Those are at LSU right now. You know, the way PLA really works is other institutions could possibly take them, but you know, it's really up to the institution. All we really can speak for now, what you know, LSU courses they would relate to. And I don't know if you know those specific MBA courses, Dr. Schwartz, or not, but
I don't. I think it's the BADM 7270 course that I teach. I think that's one of them, but I'm not sure what the other one is, to be honest with you.
okay. Another question, if I previously qualified for the Career Change Scholarship, do I need to re-qualify? You shouldn't. You should be in our system, but you know, reach out if you have any troubles with it, but we should be able to get you still qualified under what you previously submitted. Dr. Schwartz, are there remote jobs available?
Absolutely, yes, because this is the cloud is remote, so absolutely yes. And so in terms of what jobs are going to be open, it's going to be dependent upon industry and depending upon what direction that you want to take. So it could be that you could decide to work as a consultant and help companies implement a cloud strategy in their company. It could be that if you're a non-IT company that you are working with IT to help them create a strategy. So there's a variety of different career paths that you can take. And absolutely, it's ironically, yes, because this is the cloud, it's going to be there are remote jobs as well.
Okay. Another question, a little bit about the structure of the course, Dr. Schwartz. Will it be recorded lectures, other videos, readings, correct?
Yes, all the above. The benefit of, okay, so what's going to happen is if you decide that you're going to enroll in the class, it'll open up to you and you'll have 4 weeks to finish it. It's all self-paced, meaning you can go at your own pace. What's going to happen is it's broken up into 4 different modules. Every module is going to have a series of lectures, and the lectures are 10 to 15 minutes apiece, but there's multiple lectures per week. So what you'll see is, maybe 4 or 5 lectures per week to listen to, and then it'll point you to some book reading. You'll have a quiz to finish up every week, and then there's a project that you're going to work on over the course of the module that's going to help you, again, apply the material. The benefit of being self-paced is you can choose when you want to work and how you want to work, and you can do it on your own time. So I'm a dad of 4 kids, so they're being really good right now, obviously. So, but I understand that a lot of you may have kids at home or be dealing with work issues. So the benefit of this is you can choose to take class at your own time, at your own pace, and you can work around your own schedule. If you prefer nights or weekends, it is possible to get it done all remotely. Now I see there's another question I saw in the chat as well. Stuart asked, how will this course make me a better CEO? And that's a great question as well. A lot of times what happens in companies, from my experience, is that people ascend to the rank of a CEO, and they may not have an understanding of IT and where IT is headed. So they turn to the IT department for guidance and for advice. But we know that digital transformation is real, and we know that companies are finding amazing benefits from digitally transforming. But in order to digitally transform, you need a good IT strategy. Well, as a CEO, if you understand the direction of where IT and the cloud are headed, it can enable you to co-align your IT and business strategy together. And we know, based on a lot of decades of empirical research, that companies that have IT and business strategies that co-align will be more successful than their peers. So it'll make you a better CEO, and it will certainly make your business better as well.
Okay, any more questions? Here on this slide will be the website directly that you could read more about the microcreds. And you also received Dr. Schwartz and I's contact today. Feel free to reach out to us again with any questions. We're happy to get this program rolling. So thank you for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you online in the AWS MicroCreds.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Dr. Schwartz.